very busy Sunday. 10 games in the NBA, some big, some weird, some unusual performances. Let's break them all down along with Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and you are quite good at turning me on. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free, and we are, of course, available on all platforms. We're ready to go. Sunday, a lot of games on the end of week 4, heading into a quieter week 5. This is a busy day and a lot of interesting performances that we do, of course, need to talk about because that's what we do on this show. But just a couple of news updates that we didn't have when I did the preview show for Monday earlier in the day. We got the updates on Sacramento, and wouldn't you know it, the Iron Men, they never get hurt. That's what's a great reason to draft them. Sabonis is out for his second consecutive game with a back issue, and DeMar DeRozan is missing his third consecutive game, actually. No, he's not. Sorry, my bad. Sabonis is doubtful, so I don't know if he's missing. He's missing. But DeRozan is officially ruled out for his third consecutive game with that back problem. 35 years of age, 38 minutes a night, second consecutive season of those minutes. At some point, something's going to give. Not saying that it caused it, but I'm not saying it didn't. It wasn't helpful. So what that opens up is opportunities. Fanapants, Kevin Huerter, big value up. Trey Lyles, value up. Deeper leagues, Jordan McLaughlin, value up. You would think Keon Ellis' value would be up, but apparently not. You would think Keegan Murray's numbers would be up, but also apparently not. Pretty unlikely that De'Aaron Fox is going to drop a 50 again, but I guess you also don't know with that. He's been absolutely cooking. He could also come out, shoot 35 times, hit 10 of them, and make your field goal percentage for the week unrecoverable from. That's possible. Joel Embiid is questionable with an illness. We'll see whether he plays through that. If he is out, they are going with more Gershon Yabusele instead of Andre Drummond, so Yabu would be the stream, I'm guessing. And then Damian Lillard, we didn't know where he'd be with his concussion. He has been upgraded to probable. So the value of guys like DeLon Wright is negligible now. He'll be the backup because Ryan Rollins is out. Taurean Prince, who is getting a nice little shooting bump, he probably won't do it. And then you got Trent and Green and Jackson, who just won't have as much to do or as many minutes to play. But we did get those updates on those statuses for tomorrow's game, for Monday's game. So that's good that we're able to get those ones in. Let's take a look now at the action from Sunday. We'll start off the early game. It was Minnesota and Phoenix. The Wolves get it 120-117 is your final score in this one. As always, let's start with the Phoenix side of this equation. They made honestly a bizarre move. There was no Durant and no Beal, so they decided they're going to start Mason Plumlee and Yusuf Nurkic. And this is the second time a team has done this, starting the double bigs against Minnesota with old mates the Kings doing it with Sabonis and Len. Didn't work out then. And guess what? Didn't also work out here because Yusuf Nurkic played 14 minutes. Nurk had 5 and 7 in that time, but those are obviously very low minutes. This is a huge, terrible stretch again from Nurk. I don't know if you need to hold him. Honestly, it's so up and down that there have been these times where he struggled early on in the season and he was dreadful, and you go, okay, maybe we need to drop him. And then he absolutely cooked for 4 games in a row, and he went, all right, maybe not. And now we're back to this. But the fact that there is so much uncertainty with Nurkic, and it can go from 30 minutes to 21 minutes to 30 minutes with 0 points to 21 minutes with 15 and 15, means that he's not a must-roster player. Now, whether that means you hold him or not, I don't know. But the fact that there's such a low floor and there's so much variance means that is not a must-roster player. You need more stability. You need more of a regular upside hitting to be considered a must. And he's not. He's not doing that. So, yeah, sure.
Get that garbage out of here.
But also, you don't have to. The Cockroach, 29 minutes, 6 and 8, 4 assists. If I knew that Mason Plumlee was going to continue to start, and I don't, then yeah, I would add him and I would at least consider streaming for tomorrow. But the guy to, I think, really watch here, for deeper leagues especially, is Oso Ighodaro. They're playing him as a 4 And with Durant out, he got 26 minutes. He had 11 and 3. The other member of the Big Four, Bol, unfortunately not able to get into the game. Yeah, it's a shame. Must be something going on. Iguodala's playing a lot at the 4, and like 11 and 3 is not great. Like it's fine, but there's just a little something brewing there. Just watching him, deeper leagues, we're adding him. Royce O'Neal continues to do basically everything apart from score. He had another 2 steals. He had a block. He had 4 rebounds and 2 assists. He's fine. He's okay as a back-end player. And you'd think he'd do a little bit more, but for some reason, they're just not overextending him. And then we also got Josh Okogie, who was starting in the last couple of games and then went and did nothing. But they don't play like Minnesota tomorrow, obviously. Well, not obviously, actually. Maybe you didn't know that. They're not playing Minnesota tomorrow, so could Okogie just start and they move Plumlee back to the bench? Yeah, it's possible. I wouldn't really bother too much there, but what I would bother with is Grayson Allen, who had 18 points, 4 threes in 24 minutes. I don't think it's a long-term thing. I think it's a now thing. Tyus Jones also rebounded after a couple of poor ones, 13, 5, and 11, and 3 steals. While Booker was great, he'd also been somewhat down, I would say, this season. 44, 6, and 7 for old mate D-Book. Maybe we'll talk about Ryan Dunn because, yeah, I think old Dunny, we don't roster him in 10 or 12 or 14 team leagues. And after a really weird and somewhat confusing start to his career, like he's sort of just turning into the guy that we had all those doubts about coming out of college. It's like, what is he going to do offensively? What is his position? How is it going to work? Well, at the moment, the answer is it's not really. Even though he's starting, he's not really doing anything with those minutes. On the Wolves side of things, they are leaning into their starters a lot more. Mike Conley, I said this in my write-up on Basketball Monster the other day, and I think I said it on one of the shows this morning, that when Conley's getting 24 minutes, we don't want to roster him, but they actually need him. So he's played 30 the last 2 games, 30 plus. Now, I'm not going to say Mike Conley was good. He had 3 points. He took 2 shots. But he had 4 rebounds. He had 3 assists. He had 2 steals. They got the win. He had 5 usage, which is insane. He was a plus 14 in this game, while Naz Reid was a minus 15. Remember this. Naz Reid might get you excited with big volume scoring. He is terrible defensively, and at times he's not. Most of the time, he's not as good as you think he is. Not that they play the same position, but Conley leads to wins. That's what he does. So yeah, I think that if they've hit the panic button, which I think they did, and they're playing him 30, you go and look at Conley again. Better game from Dante DiVincenzo, 15 points in 26 minutes. This brings him now to not even a top 150 player. If I'm in a shallow league, I don't think I'd bother. Again, not as good as you were told that he was. There were some outrageous comments about DiVincenzo in the offseason, like unbelievable comments that were like, are you watching the same guy? What are we talking about here? This is who he is. He's fine. He'll have hot streaks. He'll have cold streaks. He's a better Kevin Huerter. But this is who he is. He's the 7th man. Julius Randle, after some stinkers, was good. 35, 4, and 7. And Anthony Edwards shot well, which is, hasn't always been the case, has it? He had 24, 4, and 6 with 3 threes on 64%. And still just continues to not be a first-round player. 26th in points, outside the 20s in category leagues. And maybe next year's the year that everyone goes, we're not doing it in the first round again. Why would we fall for that banana in the tailpipe 2 years in a row? Gobert had 11 and a 10, or 3 years in a row actually. 11-10 for Gobert with 4 blocks. And don't look now, but old Dawson himself, Jaden McDaniels, he's creeping up slowly. What's that stupid song? Oh, I wish I could remember. It's like it's an Aussie band, isn't it? What is it? Taxi Ride? Anyway, I used to know the guy from Taxi Ride. Jaden McDaniels, 3 steals, 1 block, 11 points, 2 threes in 26 for Jaden. As usual, there was some foul trouble there, but he's actually putting in a nice little shift here. And even though we talk about him as the perennial stream guy, what he's doing at the moment is useful. Now, it can die at any point. Shout out to old mate Pat Williams. But when McDaniels is doing this, I guess we pay just a little bit, just a skerrick, just a sniff of attention, a crumb of attention his way, some may say. We're going to the rest of the 9 games to talk about, which we'll get into very soon. But today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. It is the month for gratitude. That's what November is. It's Thanksgiving month for those of you in the States. And maybe there are people in your life that you just don't give that shout out to enough. Your parents, siblings, partner, kids, therapist, yourself, your favorite fantasy basketball podcast host. I don't know. Whoever it is that you're looking to do it, now's the time. And therapy can be a great way of, sometimes it can be awkward, yeah? It's awkward to say, hey, really, you're such a help to me, because you're admitting that you need that help. But we all need help, don't we? And therapy can be a way of finding that way to appreciate yourself and appreciate others in your life in the way that really is a positive contribution. So, get online and go to BetterHelp and check it out. Fill out an online questionnaire. They match you with a therapist that best suits what you're looking for. And that's great. And if it doesn't actually work out and you don't like that therapist, which happens, what you can do is you can just change to another therapist with no additional charge. So, let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Go to betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right. Like I said, we got games, quite a few of them. So let's get into the next one. It is the Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers. Such a shame that Miami gets a loss here. They lose 119-110. Just, couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of players and team. Yeah, just really, 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 really tough for me to take that one. As Indiana gets it, there was still no Jimmy Butler as he's really focusing on the seriousness of this season and the contract year. It's just all of those other injuries in previous years were all just him faking it and not trying. But this was the year he was really going to try. Unfortunately, he's hurt again, so he's just missed third in a row. So, what are you going to do about it? It's a shame. He was out, so they started again, Haywood Highsmith and Kevin Love. Love had 8 points in 12 minutes, and we are at the point, the graph of the Spo realizes Haywood Highsmith isn't it part of the season. Because he'll have 0 minutes, and then he'll put him up and he'll play 30. Go, oh my God, well, who's this guy? Haywood, who? Haywood, try it. Sector 7G, get in there. And he plays 30 minutes, and Spo goes, who's this dickhead? And then the minutes drop. And the minutes drop. And Highsmith had 0 points in 22 minutes, missed all 6 of his shots. And I shit you not, I feel fairly strongly that now that he's got a weird schedule, they play Monday, Sunday, dumbest schedule in the world, Monday, Sunday this week. But Highsmith's going to be getting DMPs by either Sunday or next week. It's the order of life. It's the circle of life. It moves us all, including Highsmith to the bench. Jaime Jaquez sprained his ankle 2, 3, and 4. X-rays were negative for him. I think he's missing Monday. He might be back for Sunday, but I tell you what, he's not staying on our rosters. Get that
garbage out of here.
The second best player out of last year's draft unfortunately hasn't been able to replicate his form this season, shockingly, and really, really struggling along. Speaking of not replicating their form, what is going on with old mate Terry Rozier? Is he just bad now? Maybe. 9 points, 27 minutes, 33%. There are times when someone sucks. Well, we've seen it. Old mate Fred VanVleet has had a few moments this season. Tyrese Halliburton has had those sort of moments this season as well. But their role, their minutes, they stay secure. When you start to worry and someone starts potting up a couple of bad games and then the coach goes, oh no, minutes dropped, that's when you worry. So Rozier's down to under 30 minutes again. Josh Richardson's minutes are pushing up. Rozier was bad last season when he came across as well. Then he had the neck injury, which, don't know if the neck injury is contributing to anything here, but he was bad. And he's bad again. So, what do we do? I think you'd hold just for now. But it is it's bad, man. He's 198th over the last 2 weeks. It's bad. If I'm in a 10-teamer, if I'm in an 8, drop. Easy drop. Easiest drop you'll ever make in an 8-team league. See you later. 10, it's borderline. 12, it's a soft hold. The sell high is still there for Tyler Hero, despite what you may think every time that a good game happens. Doesn't mean a sell high goes away. 28 points with 7 threes and 4 assists. He shot 44%, but again, 64 in his threes. It is going to drop. It is going to drop hard, and he is not going to be worth the position that he's at. But as always with the sell highs, if you can't get anything good, just enjoy it. That's cool too. And what they're also leaning into now is more Duncan Robinson. 20 points, 5 threes. I don't think we need to move on Duncan Robinson, but if Jaquez misses, Butler's still out, then I will consider it. And what they're also doing, and this is the Spoelstra ups and downs. Highsmith gone, Jovic minutes up. 31 minutes for Little Chungus, 14 and 3 with 2 threes and a steal. I don't think I would add him, but 30 minutes is absolutely eye-opening. He's been starting most of the season and played like 21 a night. That's definitely more eye-opening as to what maybe he's bringing. On the Indiana side of things, they brought out the same lineup, and there's just no other option. I didn't even talk about Bam. Quickly on Bam. He's playing 1 million minutes. 40 minutes here. 24 and 8 with 2 threes. He's been much better of late, but the minutes are a definite concern. onto the Pacers, speaking of big minutes, 40 minutes for Miles Turner, and there are no backups available, so Rick Carlisle just has to play him. 34-9, 5 threes and 2 steals, and we might get some really good Miles numbers coming down the pike here. And another big rebound game for Benedict Mathurin. 21-12 with 2 steals. He's never been this guy in the past. He's getting to the line and taking them and hitting them? Sure, absolutely. And with everyone still out, Neesmith and Nembhard, and now Ben Shepherd going down, he's got an unfettered access to a huge role, and I think he's going to be able to stick in it now. I didn't love what I saw from him in previous years. He definitely improved. The rebounds are the weird thing, but the opportunity's there, and that's what we love. Terrible start to the game from Halliburton. Don't know what happened. Not sure what he was doing last night up to 3 a.m. No idea. Maybe. Who knows? 16, 3, and 13, though. He finished just 31%, but overall, that line is okay, and he played 38 minutes. Something is clearly off with the shot, whether it's just a mechanical, a mental, or an injury thing, I don't know. But he's not it's bad, but he's not completely off the radar like a Terry Rozier. Siakam was good, and you feel like he's just the guy that you just don't need to talk about. 23, 4, and 3. All right, same stuff, always. Jarris Walker, I thought he might be able to do a little bit more, maybe not. 6 and 7, a triple one, 29%. The shooting is the worry, but if Ben Shepherd does miss, McConnell will get more, and TJ had 8, 3, and 5, and Jarris probably starts. And that makes him marginally interesting. In deeper leagues, you want to look at Quentin Jackson. Sorry, competitive leagues, the most competitive, diamond level. What's harder than diamond? A platinum diamond. Those leagues, Quentin Jackson, maybe he's someone who's available on your waiver wire and you want to take a squiz of that one. Let's go in to the next one. We're looking at the Charlotte Hornets and the 15-0. Yes, 15-0 now. Cleveland Cavaliers, 128, 114. They just sit guys now, and it doesn't matter. You don't need to play. We're good. On the Hornets side of things, they did roll with that same starting lineup that they've been rolling against or rolling with lately. And we got an interesting development. And there's a really key lesson here. Actually, we'll talk about it in a sec. Let's talk Miles Bridges first. 27 minutes, but it was a back-to-back. He's coming back from the knee injury. That's okay. He was great. 19, 8, and 8 with 2 steals and a block. The 8 assists are a little bit out of nowhere. But that was great in those limited minutes. That's great. LaMelo Ball continues to be really, really good. 31, 1, and 12. And we also got a nice Grant Williams performance. He remains a good stream guy. 15 and 9, 2 threes, a steal until we get BDNR and Mark Williams back, which might be never. I don't know. 2 good games in a row for Josh Green. 15 points for him here. But remember, he shot 75%, so that doesn't count. And Trey Mann was out. So we have to watch it. If someone puts up 2 good ones in a row and they are a starter, you got to at least give it at least a side eye. But you probably don't do anything with that. A couple of things we need to have discussions about. Let's start with Brandon Miller. The amount of glazing, I'm using that word correctly, aren't I? Yep. No, I know I am. That this guy got in the offseason was insane. It was crazy, right? Maybe he just can't shoot. Maybe he's bad at it. It's possible. I think he's way better than this, but 20 shots, 30%, 15, 5, and 4 with 2 steals. I would say he's been a big letdown. He started going into the 50s in drafts, and to me, I think I even had him too. I had him in the 70s or 60s, 70s. People were expecting a lot more from him because a lot of what he did last season was on not good percentages, and when he did have a big game, it was on 70% shooting, and he did it with everybody out. And I was like, what else is he giving us that's not just the scoring and usage? And so far, that's sort of been where we're at, although he did have 2 steals here. I'm not super worried, but I'm a little worried. The other one we're going to talk about is Moussa Diabate, who came in with 4 straight double-digit rebound games. And was it him that I spoke about on the waiver show earlier today? I don't remember. I compared someone to Omer Yurtseven. And I said, remember when Omer Yurtseven had that run with Bam Adebayo out? And even if it wasn't Diabate that I talked about, it applies. When all the Heat centers were out and Yurtseven put up big numbers, people go, actually, they're just going to start him and Bam together. They can't do anything. They can't go away from him. I was talking about, actually. So, same sort of story. Can't go away from him. Look how good he is. He's dominating. So, yeah, when Richards and Williams, they're always going to be hurt. So, Diabate, man, he's going to do this all season. You can't stop it. Yeah, well, you can. He had 2 points in 12 minutes. This is it's great. I actually love that this happened, for not for Diabate. I want him to be successful. I want all players to be successful. But it's great that this happened now. Because otherwise we would have had if he hadn't been putting up good numbers until those other players returned, we would have had to field the consistent questions. And you would have been making, I think, sometimes poor decisions in fantasy to hold the Moussa Diabate waiting for this stuff and then crying when he plays 4 minutes in the first game and they come back. He is not that good. He had a really strong run, Diabate, And he might have a good game in the next one. That is 100% absolutely possible. But he's not that good. They're not going to prioritize him over Richards and Williams. It is not going to happen. He is not that good. So if you've got him, it's a short-term stream. Be always cautious. Are you missing out on other opportunities to hold on to a third-string center who was coming off the bench behind Taj Gibson? Is that what you're doing? So it's actually really good that this happened now, so everyone gets a sobering like, hey, he's not good. Doesn't mean he can't have some good games. And he might have another big one in the next one. Totally possible. But if the coach is willing to say, yeah, we got no one else, but I cannot with you, then you've got to be like, you sort of rein in your expectations somewhat. I hope that makes sense. I'm pretty sure it does. I don't think it was very complicated what I said, but you never know. The Cavs, the 15-0 Cavs, they just said again, Donovan Mitchell, you're resting. Didn't even just say you're resting. So they started Milk. And they brought back Evan Mobley, and that meant George Niang went to the bench. Let's start with Mobley. Just a casual 23-11 with a block and 2 threes. That draft class, I don't actually care what year it was because I can't remember, 2021. Look at the performances, man. Cade is cooking. Mobley putting up these numbers. Suggs has really stepped up. Scotty Barnes left behind, unfortunately. Şengün putting up good... It's Toronto. I have to do it. Şengün putting up huge numbers. That is turning into a very, very strong draft class. Some big performances. Mobley, I think, is going to be a genuine star at some point. Garland had a locker room trip. Came back with sort of a back thing, but 25, 5, and 12. Awesome. Jarrett Allen, 25 and 15 with a steal and a block. Also great. And what about Milk? Why is this man just the most straight shooter of all time? He just never misses. 24, 2 and 8 with 4 threes. He aspires to be Tyrese Halliburton. He had his 60% shooting. Don't do anything with it. I don't care. That's great. It's fantastic. If you add him, you don't get this game. And when Mitchell comes back, he's a 17-minute-a-night backup point guard. Don't care. File it away. If one of Garland or Mitchell's out, then we do. We crack the milk carton. We're in. We're right in there. We're guzzling it down, spilling down our faces. But not now. Jakaris LeVert got a lot of minutes, 32 of them. He had 4 points. Sick. No defensive stats, no threes. This is the LeVert that we hate, despise. But there were injuries to both Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade to go along with an injury to Max Strus, who's been out all season. So, yeah, there's no one to play that position. I hope that we get Jalen Tyson getting some minutes, and I don't know that we will, but I hope we do. So I would recommend at this point holding LeVert just because everyone's bloody hurt. And I don't know if they come back. I don't know if Okoro or Wade missed the next game. I think it's distinctly possible. But, of course, I don't know that because why would I? No one's told me that, and not my business. We've got the rest of the games. Some really, really interesting games coming up next, including the first action for Malcolm Brogdon for the Washington Wizards. But today, the episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Get ready to tackle all of the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook right now. New customers, you can go and bet $5, and you know what you'll get if that first $5 bet wins? $150 in bonus bets. Oh, yeah. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything that you need as well. When you're looking to place your live NFL bets, you get the live stats. You get the play-by-play. It's live. Guess what? All there on that same screen where you would place those live bets. How many more times can I say live? I don't know. You don't have to count them, and you definitely don't have to bet on it, but we can see how many we can chuck in there. With FanDuel, all that information is right at your fingertips. So when you are live watching the game with the live stats and the live play-by-play and the live bets, there is nothing more to live than living that way. So head to FanDuel.com and get started with $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet is live and then wins. Go to FanDuel.com and never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay. Let's go into the next game. Just trying to figure out exactly which game it is that we're up to. Oh, yeah, it's the Detroit Pistons. I just told you that's what we're going to. The Detroit Pistons and the old mate Washington Wizards. The Pistons smack them down. 124-104. This is not your parents' Detroit Pistons team, or, in fact, you from 1 year ago's Detroit Pistons team. They are much, much better than what they were then without Monty Williams doing, honestly, one of the best jobs of all time from Monty Williams to support Team Monty. The best thing I've ever seen. Monty, come and coach us. No. Come and coach us. No. Come and coach us. No. What will it take? $80 million. You're on. Are you joking? Seriously? 80? Cool. I'm in. You got to coach them though. What? No way. I'm going to get fired. I'm going back to the beach. Pay me my money. I dare you to fire me. And they did. And he got his money and he didn't want to coach. He ruined kids' careers, which is, of course, incredibly selfish. But he did it. Shout out to Tom Gores. If you ever need to make a call from prison, Tom will get you. Washington. No, Detroit. Cade. 21, 10, and 10. 5 steals, block, 47% shooting, 100% from the line. He's a top 20 player this season. He's just really good. And I know I've copped a lot of shit for me saying that Cade is good over the time. But you know what? He's good. Simple. I try to block out as much stuff as I can. I have to see it all because I respond to people and all that sort of stuff. But I try to keep my opinions. He's good. He's very good. He remains very good. He's awesome. I don't know what more there is to say about him. Yeah, cool. Jaden Ivey, 28 with 8 assists, which I love to see, and 53% shooting. He has been fine. He's back inside the top 100 now. He's sort of hovering around that area. And he lacks some of the things that Cade does to sort of elevate him even further. But it's been, after what Monty did to him last season, it's a great bounce back year. Speaking of not great, though, which I wasn't, maybe I was when I was talking about Monty Williams, what is happening with the passport legend? I'll tell you what's happening. He sucks at the moment. 3 early fouls meant that Duran played 18 minutes. He did somehow get an 11 and 10 double-double. He shot 63 from the field. And another thing that I absolutely love to illustrate that point, and that I and other analysts and commenters and people need to always be cautious of. It's great as a big man doesn't eat your free throws. Yeah, that was 1 year. Like, he was bad the year before and he's bad again. What's the reality? The reality is we don't know. We don't know if he's good at free throws or not. We just don't. So sample sizes are so important. What do we do with Duran? If I'm in a points league, what for? I don't think it's a must. In a 10 points league, get out of here. 12, I think I would hold in category leagues, but honestly, and you know me, I'm one of the biggest Isaiah Stewart supporters in the world. Stewart's a better defender than Jalen Duran. Even though he's like 5 inches shorter. He's not. He's like 3 inches shorter, but he's a better defender. And Stewart just basically completely eliminated taking threes, but he had 9 and 6. He had 2 blocks. He's at least a 14-team league guy. And there are going to be days where they sort of split minutes like this. There was no Tim Hardaway, so Leaky Beasley got another start, 26 with 6 threes, and a steal. Shot the ball up, shot the ball well. He will crash hard. He will. What's the thing that you guys say, you youngsters say? He's going to crash out? He is. I know that's not the exact same usage, but fair enough. He's going to be bad soon. But if you're looking for points and threes, there's never been a better time to get yourself. Well, there was. Like 3 days ago would have been better. Not a great game from the thick Hogsman, Toby Harris, 12 and 9, but that's okay. But what's going on here? Wendell Moore's getting minutes. 4 and 5 with 2 steals. I bring this up just in case those of you in the Platinum, Diamond, Onyx level leagues, and they're super competitive, you want to pay attention. Wendell Moore is getting minutes. He's getting minutes over Ron Holland. And he's probably taken in your league, that's true. But just have a look if Wendell Moore Jr. It is Jr. Just check if he is around, if you even knew that he played for this team. Rugged Ronnie Holland went scoreless. I thought he'd started to play better, but yeah, not great here. And we do have the return of Asar Thompson coming soon, which I think is going to make it really tough for old mate Holland to do anything, honestly. The Wizards side of the equation, they didn't change their lineup, but what they did do is welcome back old mate, Malcolm President Brogdon, who had 1 point on 0% shooting with 2 rebounds and no other stats. So, I posted this on Blue Sky and on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, saying that I don't know. I'm not feeling it with Brogdon. Are the Wizards dumb enough to just reduce all of their young guys and turn things over to Brogdon for him to fall apart in 2 weeks? I don't even think the Wizards were that dumb. Now, they weren't. He played 22 minutes in his first game back. He didn't have a lower body injury. It was a thumb. I don't know why Brogdon would be playing more than 27 a night. He is clearly better than this. Like, that's okay. And if you want to have Brogdon on your roster, go for it. Not a problem. All right. It's actually like we saw it 28 minutes last season, and then for some reason, Chauncey Billups said, Brogdon, you're old and injury prone. How about we give you 35 a night on back-to-backs? Should we do that as you come back from injuries? That sounds like a good plan. I don't think Washington's going to do that. So I don't really see Brogdon making enough noise for me to care in 12-team leagues. I don't think he will. You can do it. You can roster him. I don't think it's a bad move. I just don't think it's going to work. What did happen, which I love from all my Brian Keefe, is that senior citizen Corey Kispert got his minutes cut. He had 8 points with 2 threes. It wasn't Bub Carrington. Well, it was a little bit, but it was Kispert who went from 33 to 21 with Brogdon back, which is great because Kispert is a one-trick pony who's not good enough to be a long-term starter. Easy. Let's talk about Bubbles, who only played 25 minutes, so it is a reduction. He had 11 and 3 with 3 assists, 2 steals, and 3 threes, and he is a very clear hold for now. We're in the holding pattern of like, what happens here? What do we do as we move forward? All right? And that's okay. We're okay to be in that position. Because, well, that is where we're at. And we just want to see how they continue to use it. Now, if he goes down to 21 minutes, then we go, geez, okay, that's a tough hold. But, you know, it's Brogdon. He can be hurt at any point. That is the history of his lower body. Bilal Coulibaly, just 26 minutes. The drop-off has been huge. He went to the locker room in this game late. Initially, one of the reporters said, he's got strapping on his knee. Is it that? And then someone said, no, he's had the strapping all season. It's not that. Then heard that someone said that he had a hit in the nose, and that was it. But I don't think it's anything serious. He didn't return that. But what also is the worry here with players like Kuzma returning and thinking every shot is his, the usage is down. The efficiency was still fine, but 15 and 4, no assists and 3 steals for Bilal. Like, it's fine. We're holding, but I don't think I would be surprised if we get to a stage where Bilal is not must roster. Don't think I'd be surprised. Jordy Poole, 22, 1 and 5, which is pretty good. And then Kuzma, finally they went in. 22 points on just 14 shots. Of course, in true Kyle Kuzma fashion, we got no steals or no blocks. That's what he does. But at least this wasn't 1 point on 24 shots, which is not much of an exaggeration from where he was last game. Last game, we also saw Keyshawn George's minutes drop down, but here they bounced back up. Now, he wasn't good in them, 0 points. But he did play 26 and he had 6 assists. I would hold Bub over Keyshawn. There's just a lot of bodies around to enable him to get enough minutes. At some point, he will. Again. But not yet. Alex Sarr, after yesterday's, or the day before's good game, was shocking. 14%. He had 4 points, 1 3, 1 block, 3 assists. I am holding, but that clearly stinks. And Valanciunas, just a nice 20-minute double-double, which he's done a frightening amount of times this season. Next game is the Denver Nuggets up against the Memphis Grizzlies. There was no Nikola Jokic again for personal reasons. That's 2 games for him in a row out. So there you go. No Jokic. We'll talk about the Denver side of things. They lose, of course, 105-90. The headmaster, it has just been a disaster from Jamal Murray. Didn't take a single free throw. Had 13 points without Jokic. 7 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. So at least you got something extra out of him. But man, geez, what a bad start to the year. It was a good game from Julian Strouder. And these are the games that we saw from him in the preseason. 19 points and 4 threes, 25 minutes. And I go, okay, he's a chance to start here. This guy can shoot, he can pass, he can dribble a little bit. But nah, he just got buried. Keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on it. Christian Brown played 34 minutes and he sort of went, it was fine. 13, 4, and 4. And when we saw that Brown was getting the starting role and he was getting 34 minutes, these are the sort of lines that I thought we'd get more of. It's not bad. It's not awesome. He's been awesome. But that's a fine game. We'll see where it goes from here. While Peyton Watson, only 7 points, but he had a steal, he had a block, he had a triple. I would be holding him in category leagues, points leagues, maybe not. And actually a big call-off from Michael Porter Jr., the old poop cookie himself. 10 and 3 there. And Westbrook was like better, but better from Westbrook is 40 from the field and 50 from the line. He had 12, 3, and 3. He is like the most desperation stream of desperations. That's it. Dario Saric doubled in a fill-in for Jokic. He'll go back to getting 0 minutes when Jokic returns. And this team just sucks. Their bench sucks. Their general manager, I won't say he sucks, but he has sniffed one too many of his own farts, I would say. And their bench is pretty bad. Pretty bad. The next game, or the not next game, the next side of this thing, it's the Grizzlies. They did make a change to the starting lineup, and Santi Aldama got benched for Desmond Bane to return. And I talked about this on the waiver wire show today. I said maybe you're looking at some STP LTG for Aldama because he's not going to last long term and having value. Well, that value lasted about an hour. So
Get that garbage out of here.
6 points. He had 2 steals and a block, but 20 minutes. He's a reserve. He's not good enough to be a starter, and there's no position for him to be a starter. Although, in saying that, Zach Edey got hurt today, so maybe there's something there. Edey had 7 and 7 with 2 blocks and hurt his ankle. A couple of locker room trips. Edey's been playing very, very well. Very well. Better than I thought he was. There is a limit on his minutes because of, being Zach Edey. But he's been putting up enough numbers and now hurt. We hope it's nothing serious. What that does open up, though, is old mate the Dragon, Huff. Big J. James. 10 points, a block, 2 threes. Deeper leagues, you want to be on Huff alert. As for Bane, 11, 11, and 7. We want more, but whatever, easy win here. And then Jaren Jackson played 31 minutes for 20 points with 3 blocks and 2 threes. There was also no Marcus Smart in this game, and obviously no Ja Morant. What we want to check on is Vince Williams, and that actually sucks. That stinks. It's terrible. It's yuck. It's gross. It's yuck. He had 4 fouls. So if you added Vince Williams, you'd be going, what do I add this stick for? Right? Let's just settle a minute. 4 fouls in 13 minutes. Jalen Duren's looking at him and go, bro, can you settle down? Even Jaren Jackson's going, man, what are you up to? It's a lot. He had 5 assists. A little bit of patience are required here from Vince. If Vince sticks at a 26-minute roll, then yeah, we jack. But I would like to hold. LaRavia, he'd been putting up good numbers, but no.
Get that garbage out of here.
And what we got in this game was another solid game from Scott Pippen. 10, 3, and 4 with 4 steals on 25%. But again, I said this on the Waiver Wire show. If you need to make a cut, Pippen can be cut. You don't want to cut him at all. But this is a game with no Morant and no Smart, and he still played 26 minutes. And over the last, 2 weeks, he's outside the top 100 despite everyone being out. I like Scottie Pippen a lot. But they're not even giving him big minutes when players are out. He will not maintain 12-team value all season. I don't know when Morant is coming back, so that would be why you hold. And I don't know if Marcus Smart stays on this team long-term or whatever. But it's just not going to be there all year for Pippen. I'm very certain of that. Very certain. Jalen Wells continues to start. He shoots. He scores. He doesn't do anything else. 15 points with 2 threes, and that's a deep league stream guy. Well, Brandon Clark finally got over 13 minutes. He had 8 and 7 in his 22 minutes as the weirdly starting center. Should we go to the next game? We probably should. It is the Portland Trailblazers and the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks run in with the same starting lineup here. They lose 114-110 though. Jalen Johnson, 37 minutes, 25, 4 and 4, 2 steals and a block. Lovely. Awesome shooting. Remember people panicked about him to begin the year? He's basically a top 20 player. He's at least a second round guy. Trae Young, 29, 5 and 8 with 5 threes and 50% shooting. Also, probably not quite where you want him to be, but he's a mid-second round player. Dyson Daniels. The shooting was never going to hold, and he shot 29%, which is dreadful, clearly. And he didn't have 5 steals. But who cares? He still got 2 steals. He got a block. He had 8 rebounds. He had 5 assists. Keep rolling. The only reason I would sell Dyson Daniels is if someone wanted to give me a consistent top 40 player, and nobody will, so don't worry about it. Just hold him and roll. Would it have a discussion about Onyeka Okongwu? Are we back in? 28 minutes, 11-11, 2 steals, 2 blocks. I would like to have confidence in it, but I'm too scared of people roasting me saying, Josh loves this guy for so long, he was never going to be a center. I am a bit scared to say it because, a fragile man at 230 pounds, 6'4", yeah, pretty fragile man that was a bit worried about that. But who cares? I'm joking. 28 minutes, 26 last game, decent numbers. It could all go in a second, but that's fine. Grab him. Let's see. The fact that we are pushing more towards this is encouraging. I tell you what we're pushing. Zach Ricochet right into the bin.
Get that garbage out of here.
21 minutes without DeAndre Hunter, without Bogdan Bogdanovic, without Kobe Buffkin. Is he bad? Yep, he is. Will he be bad in the future? Got no idea. But I don't care. I'm not waiting for it. The profile's not good enough. He's a rookie, a low usage, low efficiency rookie who's not actually that good. We don't have to hold that crap. See you later. Get him off your roster. And I hold him in a few leagues, and I need to go make those cuts. Capella was like, whatever, 8 and 8 with a steal and a block. I wouldn't hold him in points leagues, Clint. But yeah, if I'm in a category league, I probably persist a little bit. But yeah, I don't feel good about it. And we also got the return of old mate Vic Krejci, one of the better actual players who doesn't put up stats. 8 points, 2 threes, a steal and a block. And he's going to have an impact on players' minutes. Tomorrow we'll probably get DeAndre Hunter back as well. Also, shout out to old mate David Roddy, who went from playing 30 minutes as a starter to back out of the rotation, which nobody could ever have seen coming. The other side of this game is Portland. And ever since I said that Chauncey Billups is the worst coach in the NBA, he remains that. They've been unbelievably good. 114 to 110, they win. Let's talk about what we want to talk about, and that's the center position. Because there was no DeAndre Ayton, who does have an injury, a deep bone bruise in his finger. All right, you might want to call him soft. The man could stomp me into oblivion, so I probably don't need to say that. I would never call a player or an athlete soft. That's just not what I do, and I don't think you would have ever heard me say it. And if you have, I do apologize for that because it's not something that I say. It's a weird injury. I'm not going to lie about that. I don't really know how to make sense of it or how long he's going to be out. If he's going to be out anything further at all, I don't know. And what we wanted to get is some clarity about the center position. We got something because we got 25 Rob Williams minutes. 14 and 8, steal, block, 100% shooting. Last time, when he was out, we saw Klingon played 31 minutes. I'm a little surprised here because I didn't know that Klingon had the capacity aerobically to play that much. So they've been keeping him so low. Well, now that we know that he can play 30 minutes, when he only plays under 22, we must go, is he just not that good? Because maybe that's what it is. Klingon played 22 minutes. He had 6 and 8 with 3 blocks. I still think that Klingon is the guy over Williams to have because of long-term investments and all that sort of stuff with the team. But Rob probably should be on a roster. It was a really good game from Denny Avdia, which we haven't had many of. 12 and 8, 4 assists, 2 steals and a block. Totally okay. Don't think I'd buy into it. If you want to roster him, cool. If you don't, also cool. I also mentioned it almost throwaway on the waiver wire show today. I said, hey, just keep an eye on what Chauncey Billups is doing with Delano Banton. 26 minutes, 23 points, 4 threes, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, an insane 19 shots. Why is he the usage player? 38 usage? Is he? He's not that good. But if they're going to do this and Simons is out, you can absolutely stream him in. I don't think it's happening long term, but the pattern is very clearly there with him. As for Scoot, spoke about Brandon Miller. Scoot just might be bad. 6 points, 30%. He had 10 assists. He had a steal and a block. I don't know where to go with this now. I think while Simons is out, he's a hold, but otherwise, no way. And then Tamani Kamara played 35 minutes, which is good. He had 4 steals, which is good. He had 5 assists, which is good. But long-term, I do not see him as a 12-team league guy. Jeremy Grant got in foul trouble, so that helped a lot of other players like Banton and like Avdia. He had 9 points, 3 steals, and 2 blocks for Jeremy. But I guess I've buried the lead a little bit here. Beat Shaden Sharp. Another one of those things where, again, points get people so excited. He scored really well. 32 points in 32 minutes is amazing. Hit 3 threes, great. He also added 5 assists and 3 steals, which is awesome. Somehow he was 7 of 12 from the line, and he shot 52 from the field overall. That's a lot happening there in that entire line. He had 37% usage. It is like Sharp. Look, the assists and steals are nice. I do not think that this man is a star right now. Could he become a good player? Yes. And with this game, he moves to the 173rd ranked player this season. Yes, you do want him on your roster. Yes, you do want to hold him, but expectations need to be, I guess, checked a little bit. So we got interesting stuff. We got a Banton sighting. Yeah, don't mind a stream if Simons is out. Sharp, just add him. Scoot, maybe hold, but bloody close to not. And Williams is doing more than Klingon. If you want short-term results, it's Williams. And then when Ayton is back, it'll get even uglier, and we will have to figure out what to do in that time. Let's do the next one, the Battle of New York. The Knicks win at 114-104. The Nets with the same lineup as the last game. And Cam Johnson, 24, 5-5 with 4 threes. He's been very, very good this season, and I do think he is a must-roster player. What we need to check on, though, is hot start legend Dennis Schroeder. 8 points on 18%. Oh, no. He is, comfortably outside the top 100 now over the last 2 weeks. He was flying earlier in the season, and guess what? He's Dennis Schroeder. If you want to drop him, I don't think I would do it just yet. But it's coming. It's coming. No Nick Claxton, so we got Dorian Finney-Smith and Ben Simmons. Simmons had 0 points. He did have 8 assists, and he is absolutely not a must-roster player. You can roster him, but Ben Simmons is not a must-roster player. Well, Finney-Smith had 16, 4-2 with 4 threes, and he's at least sort of streamable across most leagues. Really good showing from Jalen Wilson here. 15 points, 6 rebounds, 3 threes, shot really well, 71%. He's not anyone we need to do anything about at this point, but I think there will be some moments in time where he's much better later in the year. And we also got a decent run from Zaire Williams, but unfortunately, he shot 14%, went to the Dennis Schroeder School of Shooting. 7 points in 24 minutes for him with not much else. He'd been playing quite well. He was at least sort of a streamy guy for 12 to 14 teamers, and we keep an eye on him. What we did get is Trendon Watford back. 4-3, 3 assists, 13 minutes. Interesting. Deeper leagues, 20-teamers, you pay a little bit of attention, and this further hampers Noah Clowney, who we absolutely are not rostering in 12 or 14, or probably, honestly, 16-team leagues. I thought they'd give him more minutes out of the gate. They haven't. I still think he's going to be useful later in the season, but who cares? We'll get him back later on. 13 points in 17 minutes for Clowney with 2 threes. And Cam Thomas, it's not what I signed up for, Cameron. I signed up for you being bad at field goal percentage, and you're delivering, so kudos for that, 36%. Well, thank you, I'd love to see it. 70 from the line is not what I wanted. But why aren't you taking shots? What's going on? I thought you were going to be a 40% usage guy, an all-star, leading the league in scoring. No, absolutely not. Apparently not. 26% usage, 16, 5, and 3. People always comment to me about Cam Thomas when he does something. Oh, have you come around that he's good? No, he is still bad. He's still bad. He's great if you want to see someone dribble into contested twos. That's fantastic. If that's your style, no worries. Is he good? Absolutely not. He's not. Thank you. Maybe? We disagreeing? We probably are. That's okay, though. That's okay. We'll see how it turns up in the end. Maybe he turns into being good. But he currently very much is not. On the New York Knickerbockers side, what we did get back is Karl Anthony Towns. So they had to change the lineup, obviously, and Jericho Sims, unfortunately for him, went to the bench. Towns only played 30 minutes here, coming off that knee problem. 26, 15, and 6. He had a 1-1. He has been a monster. He had foul trouble here as well, so I'm not sure how much the knee was a factor, but I was very big on Towns this season. I was big on taking him. It's like 12 or 13, you'd consider it. But not this. This is way better than I thought. Everything that I thought would happen with Towns has, plus more. Unbelievable stuff. Josh Hart, 46 minutes. By the way, this is a non-overtime game. 20 and 8 with 8 assists. Their box scores are literally insane. Look at the players. It's crazy. Bridges, 21 and 6 in 45 minutes. Anunoby, 24 and 8 in 40 minutes. They all shot unbelievably. 63 for Towns, 62 for Hart, 50 for Bridges, and 53 for Anunoby. Also, no free throws for Bridges, which is interesting. And because their bench is like Cameron Payne, who had 6 assists, and Jericho Sims, who had 2 points in 18 minutes, and Pacome Daddier, who's playing for some reason, 10 minutes and 0 points. Their bench is atrocious. There was no Juice McBride, but they pull out the victory. At some point, you're going to have to pay these debts. Speaking of paying debts, what did Jalen Brunson sell last season to become a top 5 MVP player? Because is bro even a top 50 player? 12 points, 21%, 10 assists, and 2 steals. He cannot shoot at all. He will be better than this. But the glazing was out of control. He was never that good. Did I have him in my top 5 MVP? I think I did, which honestly, I think I just got sucked into it because he was doing unbelievable stuff. But yeah, he is bad at the moment. The 2 steals are nice because he doesn't normally do that. I also, to be fair to him, I'm very confident he is carrying I won't say serious injury, but he is carrying a significant injury. I think he's hurt his foot 4 or 5 times already this season. He hurt it in the playoffs last season as he played, too many minutes. And I wouldn't be shocked if it's still the same problem. That's as harsh as I'm being here, some of it's a joke, some of it, but I'm fairly certain he is carrying a pretty significant foot injury here that he is just gutting through, and that is why you see these other guys get 40 minutes, 40 minutes, 40 minutes, and he gets 34. Relatively consistently as well. He's not getting the 38 that he got last season, which to me is a very big telltale sign, because it's not like Tom Thibodeau's going, yeah, man, you're our best player. How about you play less while everyone else plays 1,000,000 minutes? It's Tibbs going, I'll throw you a bone here and you can play 34. I am fairly confident that he is injured. And I say I don't have anything concrete or any source information to say that. It is just my gut feel. Just gut feel. Let's go on to the next one. Pretty excited about this next game, actually. The Chicago Bulls got spanked by the Rockets, 143-107. Fred VanVleet, bust of the year, had 28, 7, and 7 with 2 steals and 3 threes. He was 5 of 6 from the line and 63 from the field, and he's climbing. He is climbing. Well, Alperen Şengün had 20, 11, and 11 with 2 blocks on 60% shooting. That's a great game, but I am going to knock him down a little bit because he was playing against Nikola Vucevic. So, you know what? It's actually pretty easy to do. Jalen Green, who's been struggling, actually hit some shots, 67%. He had 18 and 4. While Amen Thompson came in with a hamstring issue, played through it. They play again tomorrow. I won't say that any of these Rockets really exerted themselves too much, 16-11 for Amen. And then let's do a check-in on Tari. 4 points for Tari in 18 minutes on 13%. Just a stinker. I wouldn't worry too much about it, but it does always, again, just go to show you that the safety of the floor is not quite there for Tari and Amen. It's just not quite there. We roster them, but it's just not there. Jabari Smith had 10 and 8. I don't think we need to roster him, but you can. That is serviceable. And it is hard to judge all this given, the opponents. We also got 19 minutes out of Reed Shepherd. That's his best game. He also had 3 blocks, and that's some of the things that he did in Kentucky. He just blocked a ton of shots, and you haven't seen that at all at the NBA. He also hit 4 threes, but don't think this is any indication that you need to go and add him. Well, Dylan Brooks continues to say, hey, Lou Dort's not the only defensive shot chucker that can put up some fantasy value. He's actually streamable at the moment, Dylan Brooks, and that is, didn't think I'd be saying that very much this season. Let's go on to the Chicago side of things, and I know what you're thinking. They ran out the same lineup that they did, and you're poised, you're ready to say it, but I won't say it. I won't say that Nikola Vucevic was always going to fall off because he's bad. I won't say that there's always going to be regression. I won't say that I told you so. All I'll tell you is I'll just recite Nick's stat line. 9 points, 6 rebounds, 25 minutes, no steals, no blocks, 43% shooting from Nikola Vucevic, who now finds his way outside the top 30 over the last 2 weeks. And do with that information as you see fit. He's now 39th per game in points leagues. Just putting it out there. You were waiting for the one bad game to say it. I'll say that for you. You can actually quote that if you like when you want to go in there and defend Vooch and how awesome he is and how he does this every year. Cool. All jokes aside, and basically none of that is jokes, but all jokes aside, he's going to be better than this. Like he's better than this, but he's also not the MVP that he was before. And I hope that we can do a handshake meme and agree on that. Levine had 15 and 5 with 2 steals. Giddey, well, he didn't shoot well. 30% again. Like this, look at this man's shooting splits year on year. Look at this year compared to last season. But also look at his 3-point numbers. I think he's at 45% this year and just can't do anything else. It's very weird. He's a very soft hold, I would say, at the moment. And Kobe White, also terrible. 8 points in 25 minutes. And speaking of terrible, Pat Williams. Are we back to him being Pat Williams? Maybe. But I'll tell you what I won't do. I won't overreact 100% to this game. Please don't misrepresent this or mistake this for me being a Pat Williams fan. I'm nothing of the sort at all. But everybody's minutes were down. He was dreadful because he is a very bad player. He had 7-1-1 on 22%, but maybe I'll just wait a little bit, and maybe I'll just wait. I'll just look at the plus and minuses here. Okay, well, Williams is minus 24. That's pretty bad. Oh, no. Levine minus 36 and Vooch minus 35. Holy shit. I would hold Williams for one more. We got 10 Taylor Horton Tucker minutes. That's how you know they lost. He had 12, 4, and 2. And Dosunmu also terrible. 9, 2, and 6. It's hard to read a lot into this game. What I will tell you positively, Jalen Smith, 15 minutes, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks. It's something to watch. Something to watch when our Lord and Savior Nikola Vucevic actually reverts back to being himself. Just something to watch. I know Vuce is the best. I'm sorry, my bad. I shouldn't have said anything. Let's go on to the next game. We're talking Dallas Mavericks, Oklahoma City Thunder. The Mavericks win it without Luka. Is Dallas? Are they better without Luka? Should Kyrie run the show? My column coming up soon because they've got the GOAT, PJ Washington, 28 and 17 on a back-to-back, returning from knee soreness with 3 threes and a blocker. We know what this man is about to do. He's about to have one more of these games and then have 4 points on 1% shooting. He also was an insane 10 of 10 from the line. Yeah, he should be rostered, but you know he's not doing this. Kyrie was very quiet early, but 23, 1, and 6 is good. And we got Quentin Grimes starting for Luka, but not many minutes. Just the 21 for him, 10 points, 2 threes. He's been better of late, but probably only looking him in deeper formats. Well, we're there. It's official. We're not mucking around anymore. This is it's done. It's over. It's finished. Klay Thompson, 5 points, 9% shooting, 9, 0, 9, less than 10, with 2 steals. Clay is barely a top 200 player over the last 2 weeks. There's just no reason. In fact, I would say I'd prepared a special Jack for him, but I haven't. Just a regular one.
Get that garbage out of here.
Gafford, I think you've got to be a little worried if you've got Gafford. And if you're in a points league, I think you start to consider moves because he's playing 18 a night. He still had 11 and 12, but yeah, 18 a night's not it. But Derek Lively might not stay as a starter because, Jason Kidd. That's what he will do. 6 and 5 for Lively with 2 blocks. He should be on rosters. And Najee Marshall was pretty good. 13, 4 and 3. But of course, Luka Doncic will probably be back in the next game and ready to go. And that'll change a whole bunch of stuff up as well. The Thunder side of things, you'll be shocked to know that they made a change to the lineup. Aaron Wiggins moved in for Case and Wallace. But in this game, Isaiah Joe, who was starting, actually went to the locker room, didn't return. 6 points with 2 threes. That's what he is. He's a 3-point streamer. While Wiggins did nothing, 7 and 5, and Wallace did nothing, but both guys got 2 steals, and that's what both of them are. They are steals-y specialists, and you look at the schedule, steals-y, you're stealsy. They're stealsy guys. You look at them as streaming guys for those defensive stats. Dort just keeps doing it. He's a must-roster player. I literally almost, how is that possible? How is Lou Dort a must-roster? He is. 18, 5 and 4 with 4 threes. The Bronco had 23, 5 and 4, and Shai had 2 steals, 2 blocks, 36, 2 and 8. A absolutely masterful performance. And I don't really think there's anything else to talk about. Although, actually, that's not true. For deeper leagues, Dylan Jones. 16 minutes, 12 points, 3 assists, 2 threes. No long-term value, but we'll see. Whether they lean into him a little bit more as playing some center until somebody comes back, which is Hartenstein in maybe a week or 2. But, yeah, he showed a little bit of something there. And I think that's at least worth monitoring. Let's do the final game of the day. The Utah Jazz and the LA Clippers. The Clippers win at 116-105. The Jazz go in with an unchanged starting lineup. We'll start with the GOAT, John Collins. 13 and 8 in 31 minutes with 2 steals. He just continues to play a ton. This team has been one of the most confusing teams for fantasy all season. John Collins is running as a top 30 guy. And early in the season, when everyone was hurt, he played like 20 minutes. They change their mind every 5 minutes, and it is frustrating. He is cooking. I did not see it coming. Probably my biggest L of the season, I would say, is John Collins. Jordan Clarkson has 21 and 4 in 30 minutes. He is a 12-team league guy at the moment because Colin Sexton struggled, but I don't know what to make of it. Sexton had 11 points with 3 threes and played 20 minutes. Like, he'll play 31 next game probably. I don't know. It's all over the place. While Kyle Filipowski had 24 minutes only, he had 13, 2 and 4, which is fine. He didn't have any defensive stats. I actually do think that we like him for 12s. And then, Keontae George sucks. Simple. 9 points, 34 minutes, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 33% shooting. Bad. Benched at halftime. Still played starters minutes. And George is someone that I advocated for as a pretty good, decent deeper league fantasy option because starter, point guard, assists, usage, right? All that is true. But he just can't shoot at all. I don't know that he's going to be a good player. In fact, maybe he's not. Really good chance that he's not even remotely a good player. Really good chance that the guy they drafted at 29 this season, Isaiah Collier, is better at some point in the future. I think I'm going to hold on to George at this stage because he has not taken any steps forward really at all. Maybe some small ones, but looks the same. I do think that we will get him putting together a strong run at some point. But honestly, like I couldn't tell you when. And I don't know that it actually, maybe it never comes. As for Collier, 4 points. Cool. He did have 8 assists. He did have 2 steals. The worry with him is, can he shoot threes? Can he shoot free throws? Can he do anything to score the ball? The assist, I think he's going to be fine at. I think he's actually unbelievably good at that. Defensively, the steals are a little fluky. I don't think we add him anywhere outside of deeper formats, but he's a name to very closely watch. And the other one there is Larry Markkinen, who just 39 minutes is great. 18 and 10 with 4 threes is fine. It's fine. I probably should have done a better job of not getting any Jazz players this season. I faded off of Lowry pretty hard. I was marginally into Sexton. Walker Kessler's still out here. I loved getting Taylor Hendricks late. Whatever. That's just you can't really do anything with that one. And I did like getting Keontae George in like round 10, but he's way worse than that. I think Filipowski's worth a look at the moment, but he is a tough team to figure out. The Clippers side of things is a little bit easier, and they're a lot better of a team. They also didn't make any change to their starting group here. They get the victory easily. Jimmy Harden had 20 and 6 with 11 assists. Richie Bennett. And he had good field goals. That's a miracle for Harden. Great stuff. Double-double for Zubats. He had 22 and 11 with 2 blocks. And Chris Dunn, that's enough, yeah? 26 or 25 minutes, 11, 4 and 4, 3 threes, 2 steals, enough to be a 12-team league guy. Roster him. What we are seeing also, and we need to be very, 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 very on top of this, is Kevin Porter Jr.'s minutes. 25 last game, 27 here, 12, 4 and 6. 14-team, must add. 12-team, debatable. That's close, though. Those minutes are close. And if you want to get ahead of it, maybe you do it. Storm and Norman Powell. Never would have seen this coming. He's not shooting 50% from 3, shockingly. And he does nothing else. He had 19 points. He had 4 threes. He shot 35%. Wow. Wow. Over the last 5 games, Powell's the 134th ranked player. That must be a misprint. This is what happens. It's always going to happen. He will be better than this. But he was on a historic thing to begin the year. Deeper leagues, you will want to pay attention to the fact that Mo Bamba is back. He remains bad, don't get me wrong, but he's back and he's going to get minutes now because Kai Jones is somehow worse and was taken out of the rotation after about 5 games. Bamba probably doesn't play tomorrow on a back-to-back, but he had 9 and 8 here in 15 minutes, and that is for deeper leagues to watch. And with him back, you don't have as many minutes for the smalls at center, so they all push back, and Jones plays only 21, and Amir Coffey plays 18, and Terrence Mann plays 14. Anyone who had any ideas that we're going to add Terrence Mann, please fix that. What are you doing? No, we're not doing that anywhere. But a bit of a change here. More Dunn, more Porter, less Mann, less Coffey, less Jones. And we don't need to roster any of that Jones, Coffey, Mann triumvirate in anything that isn't like very, 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 very deep formats. Shall we give out a monstrous line of the night? I think that's where we're at in this, absolutely speaking of monstrous, absolutely monstrously long show. So yeah, let's go and do that. Let's give out a monstrous who it is. Who it is? That's not English. The answer is Cade Cunningham. 21 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and 5 steals for the bust of a number 1 overall pick. The waiver wire line of the night, the best performer from a player who sits under 45% rostered on my Onyx level premium diamond basketball monster advanced roster percentage metric. That goes to Milk himself. Old extra dollop. 21 points, 2 rebounds, and 8 assists from the old Utter himself. On to the young gun of the night, the best first or second year performer. I had to scroll down the list a long way to find who this was going to be, but I found it, and the answer is Amen Thompson. 16, 11, and 5 for Amen. His excellency was pretty good in what was a blowout game, and he should be on rosters, even though there is some, I guess, flaw concerns given that he's a bench player. And the dud of the night. Malcolm Brogdon not rostered in enough leagues to get this one, so we're not going that direction. Instead, we are heading out to Chicago because this man is 83% rostered on Basketball Monsters Advanced Onyx level Diamond, Platinum, Super Sapphire, Ruby level advanced ownership levels. 7 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist will get you there. Shout out to you, Pat Williams. The top 6 players of the day. Who are they? Well, you already know who number 1 is because I've already told you who number 1 is. So number 1 is Cade Cunningham. After that, no, it's a mystery. It's Devin Booker. It's PJ Washington. It's Karl Anthony Towns. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And it is Miles Turner. For the waiver wire, Pat Williams is not at the top of this. It is, in fact, Ty Jerome, and I'm not worried about adding him. But Delano Banton we are considering. And I know the Heat have got a weird schedule, but maybe you can stream in Duncan Robinson on Monday. If Jaquez is out, as I expect, and Jimmy Butler, who knows? But maybe we look at Robinson. Reed Shepherd took advantage of playing against the Bulls, and he put up some good numbers. We can ignore that. And the last 2 are just Nuggets ones without Jokic, Strouder, and Šarić. So while they were good performances, I don't think there's anything that's super interesting to take away from that. The top 6 Yahoo Points League performers of the day, it's Cade, followed by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns, Jim Harden, and Alperen Şengün. And then for ESPN points, it's not that different, except the man at the top is. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, followed by Cunningham, Booker, Harden, Towns, and the delicate dancer, Alperen Şengün. Didn't expect this show to go for over an hour, but it did. That is week 4 in the books. So why don't you guys go ahead and thumb it? and double bang it. And go to Locked On Daily and sign up for newsletters. And I guess I'll catch you rad homies on the flip side. See ya.